Robyn Phillips, and I work for the NHS. I'm a project manager. Signature strength out of the three that have come back is intuiting. Strength's about tuning into people's feelings to help influence others. And I really sort of resonated with that because when I look at how I build relationships in my life, it's looking about what people's feelings are, what they're feeling about a certain situation, but what their values are that make them feel that way, that make them connect emotionally with situations and maybe influence how they react. Using intuiting as one of my signature strength was really useful when I worked as a project manager to implement an expansion to the National Pregnancy Screening Programme. We had to create a new public information leaflet that would go out to women to help inform them about what their test was and what their options were based on the results from their first screening test, because I think people think pregnancy is always a really happy time, but for some people there are very difficult decisions they have to make, and it's not always happy. So you really need to make sure that you're supporting your staff by providing them the right information and educating them in order to discuss that with people who have to make the decisions. Clinicians, we had public health leads, we had Scottish Government who are our policy advisors, and we also had third sector groups who were family support groups. And just with such a mix of stakeholders, you're always going to get differing opinions. And that obviously made agreeing the final leaflet really challenging, like a sentence that we'd had at the end of the leaflet that the clinicians weren't happy with. So we brought it to the front of the leaflet that the family support groups weren't happy with. A very challenging experience, the email shooting in and you're like, oh, I'm sweating thinking about it. Really using intuiting to remind myself, actually, this isn't personal about the work I'm doing. Look at people's feelings and understand why they were reacting, and having all these discussions while people are kind of talking around me. I'm thinking, actually, look, there's a place kind of about a third of half the way through where we can put this. It's not at the start, which makes the charity groups unhappy. It's not at the back, which clinicians feel we're hiding it. It's still there, it's still presentable, and understanding their feelings helped me kind of see where that decision could lie. Really go back and look at what are people's core values here? What feelings are driving them? Is it purely professional feelings? Is it personal feelings? Then I think it would have been much more challenging to finally get a final product. It reminded me that I think not just myself, but a lot of people struggle to see themselves as leaders, that I was still working with people, that I was still bringing people together, I was orchestrating people, I was touching in with people's feelings, understanding how that made them react in a work environment, understanding how that influenced their core values and what those were. And that even though I didn't maybe have a title that reflected some sort of leadership in the organization, that I was still a leader. So often I think organizations get caught up with being like, oh, if you're at a senior level, you're a leader, or if you manage people, you're a leader. And they never stop to think that actually leaders can be anywhere. Actually, anyone can, if you use your skills well and you understand actually what your strengths are. And you're not just putting yourself in positions where you're like, I've got the skills for this job. You're actually like, this job suits my strengths and I can really lead in this job and progress in it.